My name is Arienne, and I'm traveling around Ontario Southwest to find some of the best culinary trails this region has to offer. I'm going to eat, drink, and taste my way through the region, and I'm bringing you along for the ride. In this week's episode, I'm taking you on the Barrels, Bottles, and Brews Trail. The Barrels, Bottles, and Brews Trail is found in the WINDSOR ESSEX Pelee Island region of Ontario Southwest. Celebrating the area's birthplace of Canadian whiskey, this trail features 11 stops and gives you the chance to learn about the history of Canadian whiskey and sample some delicious craft brews. At any of the stops along the trail, be sure to pick up the Barrels, Bottles, and Brews passport and have it stamped at each location you visit, so you can redeem it for a special keepsake once it's full. Half of the trail runs through the city of Windsor, which takes us to our first stop, the Frank Brewing Company.
Well, we like to brew beer that we like to drink. Really, it's quite that simple. I would say our most popular beer right now is Sunshine. So it's a New England IPA. It's a little hazy, super citrusy. We do tons of dry hopping. So when you either pour a glass or you open a can, you get hit with all those aromas from those hops. So the taproom was a late addition. It gives us the opportunity to pour that glass of beer for that person, have them taste it, be able to interact with them about the beer. But the food portion of it has been a wonderful surprise. So what do we offer? Pretty simple menu, thin crust pizzas, which are dynamite, soups, sandwiches, salads, and some appetizers. Pretty simple menu.
Next, head to JP Weisers, Canada's oldest continuously produced whiskey.
For us, it's a little bit about a philosophy that we're doing. The JP Weisers family of whiskeys are more your traditional styles of whiskeys. That's largely how Canadian whiskey has been made. It's a blended style of whiskey where we use lighter grain whiskey as a base, and then we'll weave in certain smaller grain whiskeys like rye or wheat or barley to bring in out those flavors. We've developed the JP Weisers Experience Center here. We've put on, we've started doing tours, consumer tours. You'll be first invited by our tour guides, and they'll tell you storytelling of the history of Canadian whiskey, which is a fantastic story, by the way. They'll get an opportunity to walk through our distillery and check out some of our fermentation vats, check out our distillation area. After that, they will come to our bar that's located in here behind me, and they'll get to taste 4 samples of the whiskeys that we make here. I think our whiskey represents Canada as a nation, and it's something that Canadians should be proud and stop apologizing for. We make award-winning whiskeys here that are of good quality. Let's stand up and be proud and shout out some of the good things that we make in Canada.
Around the corner from JP Weisers is a brewery also rooted in history, the Walkerville Brewery.
Walkerville Brewery can trace its lineage, if you like, right all the way back to 1892. And it was originally founded by a gentleman called Hiram Walker, who's probably more famous for whiskey than he is for beer. And later in life, after he'd established the big whiskey distillery here in Windsor, he decided that he wanted to get into brewing. And that's where we can trace the Walkerville Brewery all the way back to, which is Hiram Walker. And so the brewery obviously is making contemporary beers as well. But we also like to think there's a nice lineage there about, most importantly, good quality beers. All of our beers are made 100% from malted grains. That's important because we don't use adjuncts or anything like that. We use 100% malted grains. And that ensures that the beers that we produce are really flavoursome and are rounded and well-crafted beers. Fundamentally, what we want Walkerville Brewery to be is to be a brewery that's part of the local community, a community brewery.
Steps away from Walkerville Brewery is F&B Walkerville. This small restaurant and lounge is known for their handcrafted cocktails and small plate offerings. The menu changes seasonally, and local produce is used as much as possible. The setting is intimate, and the food and drinks are expertly made. Next up on the trail is Brew Microbrewery, located in one of Windsor's historic buildings.
It was a 100-year-old chocolate factory, actually. It's the original use of the building. So we do a chocolate stout in the winter, kind of homage to the building. And since then, it's always been food use. So we've actually got great wild yeast in this facility. So we actually do sour beers in the summer too. So even though these beers seem like they're crazy styles, we make them drinkable. Our main beer that stands out though is a maple beer. So spiced ale made with Canadian maple syrup and ginger. We don't ferment all the sugar, so you can taste the maple syrup. So I'd say our Canadian maple brew is one of our most standout brews. All of our stuff is about promoting a good time, just like beer should be. I mean, you put beer and two things together and it's beer and a good time. And all of our beers are easy drinking, so you can drink enough of them to get your place to a good time.
In the heart of downtown Windsor is Craft Heads Brewing Company, known for their unique flavored beer options.
What Craft Heads is all about is we're beer for the adventurous. Everything is brewed here on premise. We have a small brewery to the back. We do everything. Just because our batch size is very small, we can experiment with a lot of different styles, ingredients, methods. That's what we enjoy doing as home brewers, is trying to kind of push the limits to see what we're able to do with the beer. Our two beers that are sold by volume are our Blueberry Blonde and our Turbulent Chocolate Peanut Butter Porter. So we do a lot of things differently here. What I love seeing is people come in and just being shocked of how many taps that we have and just the laid back atmosphere that we have. Our staff is really friendly. They know their beer very well. So they're able to kind of guide each and every customer to have an enjoyable experience where we want to create the atmosphere of just we're being at a friend's house. The communal tables, the large tables is kind of what we wanted to have. We have some TVs. I actually have my old Nintendo 64 behind us. Just create that atmosphere is that you're always welcome.
The last stop in Windsor takes us to Sandwich Brewing Company.
We wanted to give like an unprecedented view of the actual brew house itself and really make you feel like you're behind the curtain, you know, like when you sit here at the bar and have a beer, you could be literally 8 feet away from, you know, like the operating vessels during the production, so it's pretty cool. We always go for flavorful beers. We want to push you maybe a little bit out of your comfort zone, show you what beer can be, and like our most tame beers are probably where a lot of places end up. I want them to love the building, love the effort we put into it, and of course love the beer. I mean, it's an awesome setting to have a beer in for sure, and it's so much fun to watch the production. Like you feel like you're right in it. So,
A few doors down from Sandwich Brewing Company is Rock Bottom Bar and Grill. They feature classic pub fare options and have a large list of beers on tap. It's a great spot to grab a quick bite to eat before continuing on. Now head south towards the town of Amherstburg to visit the second distillery on the trail, Wolfhead Distillery.
So we started in 2016, May of 2016, so we're just over 2 years. It's the first craft distillery and it's the first distillery since Prohibition. So we have a straight whiskey, we have a coffee whiskey liqueur, we have an apple caramel whiskey, and then as for vodka, which you can turn around immediately, no aging involved, we have a straight vodka. And then we have two variations of flavored vodka. So we have a grapefruit vodka, and then we have a banana caramel vodka. People come out here typically, I mean, it's nice we have a restaurant here, so usually people can grab lunch and have a nice meal. And then on top of that, we also have tastings and tours. And what's nice, we have a Tide House license here, so that we can actually make cocktails with our spirits. You know, people always wonder, well, what do you mix this with? What do you recommend? We have like a whole offering of different mixed drinks made with our products. So.
Located in the same space as Wolfhead Distillery is Lonsbury Farms Brewing Company. It's a small batch brewery with a focus on ales that uses its long history of farming to guide the beer making process. Further south along County Road 9 is GL Heritage Brewing Company.
GL Heritage is it's a family-run, small batch, locally focused brewery. It's located on agricultural land, so we're the only agricultural-based brewery this side of Norfolk County. We started with a core lineup of 4 beers. So we launched with Backshot Brew Blonde Ale, the common mutt, a Ride Ale, it's a rye beer, it's sort of like a red amber beer, and a sweet stout called Shoots and Ski Stout. We created the space with the deliberate focus on it being very welcoming, very comfortable and cozy. The design is very sort of rustic, industrial kind of a feel to it. And we pride ourselves on the fact that when people come here, they usually know each other. It's such a small town that there's a lot of friendly greetings when they walk in. To complement the experience in the tasting room and the patio when you're sampling the beer, we bring in local food vendors. So we collaborate with local small businesses, restaurants, food trucks, local chefs with catering businesses. We also bring in local musicians to play on the patio so you can enjoy some incredible talent found nearby.
Head east to the town of Kingsville for the final 2 stops, starting with the Grove Brewhouse.
So the Grove Brewhouse was an addition that we thought was necessary for the hotel. To be a professional functioning hotel, we felt that we needed to add a restaurant component for our guests, as well as the town. So then we explored the idea of a brewery, thought it might be a neat addition. So we actually added a 10-hectare barrel system here. We manufacture only our own beer. That's all we serve here. So we do everything from a lager, ale, porter. We do a few sours. So we actually have a peach sour that's gone over extremely well. Today we started with a mango sour. So those are kinds of things that we play around with in terms of flavoring. We use our beer in the food as well. So we create local creations that have our beer and that kind of flavoring for sure. We have created a space that has a lot of unique features. We've used a lot of local artists. So the graffiti wall that we have in the brewery is something created by a local graffiti artist. The tables were also created by a local craftsman. So we kept that feel, but we also wanted to make it a fun environment.
And lastly, we wrap things up with a visit to Banded Goose Brewing.
Banded Goose Brewery is the next evolution in the Jack's Group. Along with our great burgers, obviously people were wanting great beer, and over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, we've developed the brew pub at Jack's location and are currently in the process of expanding the brewery to our own manufacturing brewery and tap house just in town. Currently right now, as a brew pub, we're brewing great IPAs. Right now, though, between my brother Trevor and Jason, our brewer, they're coming out with, we always have 3 great beers on tap, and that'll expand come September to 6 or 7.
Now that is the Barrels, Bottles, and Brews route. So many fantastic breweries and distilleries to check out here in the region. Now if you want to try to tackle this entire route, I recommend give yourself a weekend. And better yet, grab a bunch of friends because it is a lot of fun with a group of people. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet already. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you soon.